Okay, so on R5, what I've done is on the back side of your paper for your notes, I have went ahead and drawn these two triangles. Now these are special triangles, which make special angles, and the only specialness is these two triangles. There's no other specialty unless you have like Pythagorean triples, which we'll talk about later, but not in this lesson. So, special angles. Special angles is a 30, 60, 90 triangle or a 45, 45, 90 triangle. We went over this in Q's about 30, 60, 90s and how we got these sides, so I'm not going to go over that again. So what we're going to do is we're going to figure out these two triangles. These numbers are basically in the lowest form that it could be to help you with what you get and stuff. So we're going to talk about these 30s right here. And remember, some old hippie caught another hippie tripping on acid. So sine of 30 is opposite over hypotenuse. That's reduced. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. That is reduced. And tangent 30 is 1 over square root of 3. You can't have square root of 3 on bottom, so we do it to the top and bottom, and we get square root of 3 over 3. Now, for 45s, we skipped over to this right isosceles triangle. And if it's a right isosceles triangle, these legs are always the same. And then the hypotenuse is whatever the leg is with the square root of 2 on it. So sine is 1 over square root of 2. You can't have the square root of 2 on the bottom. So you multiply it to the bottom and the top. And you get square root of 2 over 2. Can't read that, so let me try to fix it. Okay. Cosine of 45. Now, since they're both 45s, it doesn't matter which 45 I look at. So I was looking at that one. So 1 over square root of 2, and since we've already done 1 over square root of 2, I know it simplifies out to be square root of 2 over 2. And tangent of 45 is opposite over adjacent, which is 1 over 1, which is 1. Then 60, we're going to go back to this triangle. And whatever was opposite to the 30 is adjacent to the 60, and whatever is adjacent to the third is opposite to the 60, blah, 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 blah. And there'll be a nice little neat thing happen in just a second, but let's go ahead and figure it out. So sine 60 is opposite over hypotenuse, so square root of 3 over 2. Adjacent over hypotenuse is cosine, so 1 over 2. And tangent of 60 is opposite over adjacent, and anything over 1 is itself. So there you have it. Now, I went through all of that, but whenever I was in school, we weren't allowed to have notes. I keep saying that, right? And so, this is what my teacher taught me. Make a little 3x3 square. On the left side is sine, cosine, and tangent, the normal way that we normally would. And if we have special angles, we have 30s and 60s and 45s, so we're going to put those in order. So 30, 45, and 60. And there's a little song. And it goes to Jingle Bells. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Right? So what we're going to do is 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, all over. Don't, dadgummit. I messed up already. It's been a hot minute. Come here, come here. All over 2. square root 3 over 3, 1, square root 3. They're supposed to have square roots. Okay, so let me repeat that. Sometimes this just gets on my nerves. Don't do it. I know you're going to do it. Every time that pops up. Whenever that does that, it's because I'm trying to erase something, and it doesn't like to erase what I want it to, and I haven't learned, obviously, how to use it yet. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, all over 2, square root 3 over 3, 1, square root 3. But whenever I say 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, those are being square rooted. All over 2, square root 3 over 3, 1, square root 3. Now, what that does is, well, that's where I wanted to go anyway. See all this? I put it into that chart. So you don't have to look at this anymore, you can just look at the chart. Now, before we go on any further, let's talk about the reciprocals. Now, there isn't a little jingle with this. The reciprocal of sine is cosecant, the reciprocal of cosine is secant, and the reciprocal of tangent is cotangent. And we're still going to stay 30, 45, and 60. So we're going to flip these. So 1 over 2 becomes 2 over 1, or 2. 2 over square root of 2, because I flipped it. Can't have square root of 2 on bottom. Basically, it becomes square root of 2. And 2. I'm sorry, that's wrong. Square root of... That's right to begin with. Oh my gosh, I need to take a break. And 2 over square root of 3. Can't have square root of 3 on bottom. So 2 square root of 3 over 3. Now, if I've already done 1/2 here, and here's 1/2 here, then I don't have to do it again. If I've done square root of 2 over 2, and here's square root of 2 over 2, I don't have to do it again. If this is square root of 3 over 2, and this is square root of 3 over 2, I don't have to do it again. And what happens is these flip sides. Okay, so now we're getting ready to go. All we're going to do is use this chart. So it says cosine 60. So you find cosine, and you find 60. And what's at the intersection? 1/2. Sine 60. Sine 60, square root of 3 over 2. And so on and so on. Cosine 30, square root of 3 over 2. Tangent 30, square root of 3 over 3. Cosecant 30. Cosecant and 30, so square root of 2. Secant 30. 2 square root of 3 over 3. Cotangent 60. Square root of 3 over 3. So all of this time, it's not going to take very long at all to do it. Now, on this, going to have to do a little bit of math. What is cosine 60? Cosine 60 is 1/2, because we've already figured it out, right? So if this is 1/2, and it is supposed to equal 9 over x, you set it equal to each other, and then you have a fraction equaling a fraction, so we're going to cross multiply and divide. 1 times x is 1x, 2 times 9 is 18, so x equals 18 will be your answer. Sine 60, square root of 3 over 2 equals 5 over x. Cross multiply, so square root of 3x equals 10. Divide by square root of 3. You can't leave a square root of 3 on bottom. So 10 square root of 3 over 3. Sine 45 is 1/2. No, it's not. It's the square root of 2 over 2. Equals 3x. We're going to put that over 1. And then we're going to cross multiply. 2 times 3x is 6x. Equals the square root of 2. Divide by 6. Those do not reduce because one's on the inside and one's on the outside. Square root of 3 over 1 equals 6 over x. Cross multiply. You get square root of 3x equals 6. Divide by square root of 3. Can't leave square root of 3 on bottom. So it's 6 square root of 3 over 3. These reduce to 2 square root of 3.